Shalom Temple Israel. I'm starting to enjoy this North Carolina late winter or early spring weather. It's beautiful outside. I hope that you all had a great Purim. I actually enjoyed the virtual Purim much more than I thought I would. The trivia game with Alan Jonathan was great, and I love that so many of you sent in costume pictures. Congrats again to our costume winners. Now that Purim is over, we start thinking about the next holiday on the Jewish calendar, and it's a big one. It's Passover, coming up in less than a month. And we know that on the Jewish calendar, the month in between Purim and Passover is an incredibly busy time. We're all involved with preparing ourselves, preparing our houses, and preparing our families for this holiday. We clean our houses, we kosher our houses, we shop for kosher for Passover food, we prepare our seders, the two festive meals that we enjoy the first two nights of the holiday. And in thinking about the seders this year, I'm turning to a book that I've been working my way through recently. It's called The Art of Gathering by Priya Parker, How We Meet and Why It Matters. Written before COVID, but much of it still applies. She applies even more during the pandemic. And Priya Parker writes about how every gathering, whether it's a religious gathering like a Seder or just a general dinner party of friends getting together, should have a specific stated purpose, a goal. And she also says that a category is not a sufficient goal. Now, this applies to us because we are used to getting together for our Seders. And we ask why we're getting together? To have a Seder. But according to Priya Parker, a Seder is a category. It's not enough. We need to decide what is the purpose of coming together to do the Seder. Is it to enjoy a great meal? That's probably part of it. Is it to share family traditions with our children? Also another part of it. Is it to reenact and remember the Exodus from Egypt? A big part of it as well. I'm sure each of you can come up with a different goal for your Passover Seder. Then she advises, once you have the goal, start to plan to reverse engineer the Seder to meet that goal. Using the Haggadah or the different Haggadot that are out there, how do you convey the goal in every part of the Seder? How is it a message, a theme that runs throughout the evening? Then she teaches something that is really relevant for us this year. And she says that the most powerful rituals are the ones created for the need in front of you right now. And I was thinking about this as I remembered Seders last year, because last Passover was the beginning of the pandemic. None of us knew what was going on. We made the decision back in Louisville to cancel our communal Seder about a week before it was supposed to take place, leaving about the 200 people who had registered on their own to figure out what to do. And most of them probably wouldn't have come anyway, even had we not canceled it. So instead of the communal Seder that we were supposed to have, I went on Facebook Live and sang into the camera for about an hour and led a Seder from my house. It was a complete disaster with my kids running around and shouting. I can't say it was the most meaningful Seder that I've ever had, but everyone who participated commented on the Facebook feed and afterwards how much they liked it and how much it did for them that year. And that's because the Seder, which was thrown together really very quickly, reflected what we were all feeling. No one knew what the pandemic would be like. No one knew what it would be like to do Passover in lockdown, in quarantine. And so the Seder reflected that particular feeling. This year, we're in a different place. We've been going through the pandemic for a year now. We're much more familiar with the technology, but also we're starting to feel a little bit of optimism as more and more people get vaccinated, as cases continue, God willing, to go down. We look forward to this Passover, even though it's not the end of the pandemic. Perhaps this Passover we can feel the spirit of going, me'avdut lecherut, from slavery or from bondage to freedom, as we look forward to the day when we can really leave our houses and be together with other people. And so I hope that our Seders, as we design them, they will be different this year. They will be smaller, and for many of us, they will be virtual. They reflect that feeling that we are now on the verge of seeing the freedom coming, seeing the light at the end of the tunnel. I very much hope that's still the case in 3 weeks, and that our Seders that we should be working on now are filled with that joy and that optimism. Hope to see you in shul online this Shabbat. Have a Shabbat Shalom.